Let's get into it. Welcome. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knuckle Game Podcast, the home for combat sports conversation, where we break down the biggest stories in MMA perspective, not hot takes. If you're new to this channel, hit the like button, subscribe, and join the conversation. This episode is brought to you by Juggernaut Snacks, Knuckle Sandwich, the premium fight-inspired snack built for combat sports fans who appreciate bold flavor and championship quality. Now, let's talk about one of the most unique fighters in the UFC, or one of the most unique fighters the UFC has ever signed, Michel Pereira. Some fighters walk into the octagon. You expect a technical battle. Some fighters, you expect a war. With Michel Pereira walking into the cage, you honestly had no idea of what was about to happen. A flying knee, a spinning back fist, a backflip off the fence, or something nobody had ever attempted before. Michel Pereira, he fought like every Saturday night was a highlight reel audition. And here's what's funny. For a while, it worked. Fans couldn't wait to watch him, not because they knew what he was going to do, but because they had no absolute idea what he was going to do. In a sport where everyone studies tendencies, Michel's greatest weapon was unpredictability. Pereira signed to the UFC in 2019. He already had a reputation. He wasn't some unknown prospect. He had competed all over the world, built a resume across multiple organizations, and developed a reputation as one of MMA's most explosive athletes. Then came his UFC debut. Danny Roberts, first round finish. Performance bonus, just like that. The UFC had a brand new attraction. Fans immediately started asking, who is this guy? Not because of his record, but because of the way he fought. He brought the energy of a video game into the cage. And let's be honest, for those first few fights, every time Michel named appeared on a card, you circled it. You wanted to tune in. You wanted to see what he was going to do. But here's where Michel's story gets really interesting. Early in his UFC career, there were times he looked like he was trying to win fight of the night before the opening bell even rang. I mean, he would do cartwheels and backflips and wall jumps and spinning attacks from every angle. It was incredible entertainment until it wasn't. Against Tristan Connolly, Michel spent so much energy trying to create an unforgettable moment that he forgot the most important part of fighting, and that's winning. Connolly stayed disciplined. He weathered the storm and handed Michel one of the biggest wake-up calls of his career. He shut down all that dumb shit. You know what impressed me after that? Michel actually learned from it. That's something people rarely mention. Now, here's the part of Michel Pereira's career that deserves far more respect than what it's been given. Everybody remembers the backflips. Almost nobody talks about the evolution, the wild risk taking, how it slowly became calculated aggression. I mean, his striking became cleaner, his decision-making improved, his conditioning improved. The entertainer quietly became a legitimate middleweight threat. I mean, he put together one of the best runs of his career. He beat experienced veterans. He earned performance bonuses. He climbed the rankings. For the first time, people weren't asking whether Michel belonged in the UFC. They were asking whether he could become a title contender. That's a completely different narrative, a completely different story. And honestly, it's a credit to how much he's matured as a mixed martial artist. So why exactly is Michel Pereira no longer on the UFC roster? According to multiple reports, His contract just ended, and the UFC chose not to renew. Simple, professional business. See, that's the part many fans forget. The UFC isn't just promoting fights. They're constantly evaluating value. Can this fighter headline? Can they move tickets? Can they realistically fight for a championship? How many years are left? Is the investment worth it? Those are the difficult questions. And sometimes the answers have nothing to do with talent. Michel finishes his UFC career with an impressive record. Multiple performances, victories over respected opponents, countless viral highlights, and a reputation as one of the most entertaining athletes to ever step into the octagon. Not many fighters can honestly say that. So, did the UFC make the right decision? Now, here's where things get confusing. Because this isn't black and white. If you're looking strictly through the lens of championship competition, maybe the UFC made the right business decision. They're always looking towards the future, always refreshing the roster, always investing in younger contenders. That's part of staying the biggest MMA promotion in the world. But if you're looking through the lens or the eyes of the fan, this one stings. Because entertainment matters. Not every fighter has to become champion, to become unforgettable. Ask anyone who's watched this sport long enough. There are champions people barely even remember. And there are entertainers people still talk about 20 years later. Michel Pereira belongs in that second category. He made people stop what they were doing. He made fans say, yo, you got to see this guy, man. That's a rare gift. So what's next for Pereira? What comes next? The good news. This almost certainly isn't the end of Michel Pereira's MMA career. Far from it. There are plenty of organizations around the world that would love to sign him tomorrow, I'm sure of it. PFL, One Championship, Ryzen, and several others. Michel, he's still athletic, he's still explosive, still capable of producing moments that will spread across social media within minutes. And sometimes a change of scenery is exactly what a fighter needs. We've seen careers reborn before. We've seen athletes rediscover themselves after leaving the UFC. Michel absolutely has the talent to do the same. Don't be surprised if his next chapter becomes one of the most exciting of his career. Now let's look at the bigger picture. I think Michel Pereira's story raises a much bigger question. Has modern MMA become too focused on perfection? Every fighter's trying to optimize, control risk, win rounds, protect rankings, protect contract, protect title opportunities. And I understand why. The stakes are enormous. But somewhere along the way, the sport became a little bit more predictable. And Michel reminded us what chaos looked like. He reminded us why fans fell in love with MMA in the first place. Because every second felt unpredictable. Because anything could happen. That kind of fighter doesn't come around very often. You can't manufacture originality. You either have it or you don't. Michel Pereira had it. So my final thoughts. Did the UFC lose one of its most entertaining fighters? I think the answer is yes. Was Michel Pereira a perfect fighter? Absolutely not. Did he make mistakes? Plenty. Did he evolve? Without question. And perhaps that's the biggest takeaway from his UFC career. He wasn't just a human highlight reel. He grew, he adapted, he proved he could become far more than a viral clip. Whether his future is inside another major organization or somewhere completely unexpected, I'll be watching. Because fighters like Michel Pereira remind us that combat sports are about more than wins and losses. They're about moments. And Michel gave us plenty of them. What do you think? Did the UFC make the right decision? Or did they let one of the most entertaining and original fighters of this generation walk away? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this episode today or this breakdown, hit the like button, man. Subscribe to Knuckle Game Podcast and share this episode with another fight fan. Help me grow this channel. And I'd like to give a special thanks to our sponsor, Juggernaut Snacks Knuckle Sandwich, the premium fight-inspired snack for champions, competitors, and every fan who lives and breathes combat sports. Until next time, I'm El Banger. Thank you for watching Knuckle Game Podcast. And remember, keep your hands up and your chin down. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.